And welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Muskogee Rougher Football Coaches Show here in 2021. We've been with you each and every Tuesday night from 6:30 till 7 on Okie Country 101.7 KTFX, as well as on Rougher TV, live from Runts BBQ, where it's a little better barbecue plus a whole lot more and a good helping dose of Rougher football. And back with me, as he's been each and every one of the preceding weeks, is the head coach of the Muskogee Roughers. And, Coach, it seems like only yesterday we were talking about the 0-week game.
Yep.
Now here we are talking about Week 10, the final game of the regular season.
It finally, we want to say it snuck up on us, but every year it takes forever to get there, it seems like. But once it does start, it's off and gone quick. So Week 10 is here. Ponca City Wildcats coming into town, and look forward to it.
Last Friday night, obviously, got met by a swarm of Hornets, and that's not a tongue-in-cheek type play on words, but they did come out like they had their nest stirred and were willing to make somebody pay the price.
No, they were ready to play, and there's a long-standing there. I've had with other positions I've been in, I've had a long-standing tradition playing against the Hornets, and even the young man that is now the head coach, J.B. Brown. He was a player at one time whenever I coached against him. So we've always had a lot of competition, good competition. But they were ready to play, and we made a few mistakes, and you can't do that over there and come up with any success.
When you make those type of mistakes, obviously you can get behind in the foot race in a big hurry. But there were some bright moments. One of those had to be the running of Brandon Talbert last week. Seemed like he had one of his better games of the year. Yeah,
there's just, like I said, in every game we've been able to find a lot of positives. We can't find the positive we're really looking for a lot of times, which is the W. But we're continuing to grow, and we grew in spurts, and you can't do that in the process of a football game. When I say grow in spurts in that process of that particular football game, you did, as you said, we had some great moments. Brandon Tolbert had some big-time carries, really successful all across the board. And, again, offensively, even though we struggled at times, we had over 380 yards of offense. And again, defensively, just struggled tackling and being in position to tackle. But a lot of bright moments through the process of the game, and we were in the game at times. We just couldn't ever get over the hump.
Now we're down to the final regular season game, final game of the year for this year's class of seniors, and also the final game to ever be played at Indian Bowl.
Right.
After 82 years, they'll finally turn out the lights Friday night for the last time for high school football at Muskogee's Indian Bowl. As we get into Friday night's final week of 10, the teams out of the district are pretty well set, 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's just
Correct.
a matter. Now, 2, 3, and 4 could change depending upon what happens between Booker T and Bixby, or what happens with Choctaw and their opponent, or Sand Springs and their opponent. But as you kind of look at the 6A playoff picture, other than Bixby, is there another team that can contend for the championship?
Well, as far as you look at talent, and again, I think you'll see, obviously, Booker T and Bigsby play this week. So that'll weed itself out real quickly.
Right.
Even though both of them be in the playoffs and could meet again, I think there's going to be a lot dictated there. I do still think Choctaw, if they can play error-free football, even though you say, how are you saying that, Coach Hill, when it's 70 to whatever it was?
Right.
They're talented.
There were a mad bunch of Spartans that night.
And they match up well and have been humbled now on top of that. And I think you've seen them since that game progress and continue to get better. That's really about all I see. Stillwater's been over there and got beat pretty handily earlier in the year. So it's Bixby's to lose. There's no doubt about it. So, but there is a few teams I think that talent-wise can compete with them. It just depends on if they're able to handle all the pressure that Bixby's able to put on you.
Now, I know you keep an eye on high school football regardless of the class, and obviously 6A1's got a little bit different look this year. I mean, Jinx has got up on top and stayed there, but still I think there's Jinx, there's Union, there's Owasso that have to be considered the front runners there on 6A1.
Yeah, that's the three to beat, and then I think it's a toss-up after that. So, and it's funny how it all matches up. Now, Owasso's going in as a number 3 seed, so they're going to be on the road the first game over at Broken Arrow. But I would still think that Owasso, Union, and Jinx are the teams to beat, and I would probably honestly say that Jinx right now, because of their consistency, and they've been playing great defense. Coach Gaylor's done a great job over there with the defense, so I would say they're the team to beat, but it's up in the air. All three of those teams could win that.
Now, as I mentioned a moment ago, Friday night will be the final night for high school football at Indian Bowl. I know it's kind of bittersweet for me, having been a part of this program since 1985 up until Friday night, to be in that press box. I had to be there Friday night, regardless of whatever happened. I mean, I had to climb those steps one more time.
Yep.
Had to get in that broadcast booth and cheer on the Roughers. But what does it mean for this year's group of players? I know we'll get a chance to ask Jaden Bell here in a little bit, but from the coaching staff.
Yeah, it's something you couldn't be hitting on all year. It had been mentioned at times, hey, I've always told this group of seniors, you get to be the last ones to play here. I've told these groups of juniors and sophomores, what a reward that you get to end a legacy and start a legacy.
You get to lock the gate and unlock the gate.
Unlock the gate. Lots of ways to put it. And that's unusual. That doesn't get to happen a lot. And here's the deal. It's not just shutting any gate. I'm not a Muskogean. I grew up in Tulsa. But I know the folklore around here, and I know what goes on in the tradition. So when you used to really talk about that and you really grasp it, it's pretty amazing of what's come through this program and the type of athletes and the wins, the championships and everything else. And everybody say, well, those were decades ago. Well, the few or more. 1986 is a long time ago, but, man, do they had a lot of them, and a lot of tradition has rolled through there, and a lot of great players since then.
Well, there's going to be a big feature in Thursday's edition of the Muskogee Finish to talk about the all-time best Indian Bowl football players at every position. And I had a chance to be involved in some of those discussions, trying to put together some lists and some ideas. And I'm just going to tell you, Coach, it's hard. It's harder than what you might imagine. And current day people the generation below me and the younger ones, they're going to remember certain players. Mm-hmm. But there's not a lot they're going to remember the Preston Carpenters, the Eddie Crowders, and the Burrises. And there's too many of those to mention. Mm-hmm. But, I'm going to ask you to ponder on that question and think about who if you were scrolling back through time and your knowledge of Muskogee and its tradition, who you would think was the all-time best football player ever to put on the Rougher uniform and play at Indy Bowl. We'll talk about that a little bit later on.
You want to put pressure on me, aren't you?
I'm going to make you think.
I'll say
Google
this.
It up.
I'll say this before we go. I will take that All-Indian Bowl team, and I'll put them against any other school in the state from whatever year to whatever year, and say that team will be just as well off as any other team.
I think anybody would agree with you if you could put it all together at their peak of their performances and put them out there Friday night. Nobody would want to mess with
I
the
agree
Roughnecks.
with you.
When we come back, though, we've talked about all season long building for the future. One of the guys that is an integral part of building today's success as well as for the future is our guest. He is Coach K. Leo Krajewski. He is the athletic trainer for Muskogee Public Schools. He's also a strength and conditioning coordinator in the offseason. He'll be really heavily involved in that. We'll talk with Coach Leo. We continue live from Runts BBQ here on the Rougher Football Coaches Show.
In times of need, it's comforting to see faces of people you know and trust. Cornerstone Funeral Home in Muskogee cherishes the opportunity to be there for you and your family in life's most challenging times when friends are most important. Cornerstone Funeral Home and Crematory welcomes the opportunity to answer any questions regarding planning and pre-arrangements for you and your loved ones. Experience the difference. Cornerstone Funeral Home, 1830 North York in Muskogee, where you'll find faces you know and reputations you trust.
It's a special time of the year at J. Hodge Chevrolet Muskogee. No tricks. I hope we get this right. Oklahoma, it's treats for trade-ins, and we need trade-ins. Come get a trade-in bonus up to $1,500 when you buy your new Chevy. No tricks. Get an appraisal at the dealership or at your home. Treats for trade-ins up to $1,500 extra. No tricks. J. Hodge Chevrolet Muskogee. 144 West Shawnee.
When you come home after a long day, Bravado Wireless Home Internet has you covered in your neighborhood or on your farm. For a limited time, our unlimited home internet has been discounted to only $49 per month with the purchase of a $99 router. And get this, the first 3 months of service is on us. So what are you waiting for? Make the switch today and visit us at bravadowireless.com for more info and to find a store near you. We are Bravado Wireless, and we believe in the power of connection.
Pioneer Abstract, proudly serving residential and commercial customers throughout Muskogee County since 1905. Serving banks, mortgage companies, and mortgage brokers with refinancing, purchase, 1031 tax-deferred exchanges, along with full escrow services and more. Pioneer Abstract offers the convenience of centralized services for escrow accounts, title insurance, and title searches. Pioneer Abstract, here yesterday, here today, and here tomorrow at 412 West Broadway in downtown Muskogee, or call Pioneer Abstract at 683-2904.
We are what makes Oklahoma proud. We are mothers. We are coaches, counselors, and teachers. We are community. We are innovators in medical technologies. We are researchers. developing breakthroughs to diagnose, treat, and cure diseases. We are everyday people. We are Northeastern Health Systems.
Hi again, everybody. Welcome back to Runts BBQ. Bill Huddleston, along with the coach, the Roughers, Travis Hill. And, Coach, each week you've invited a member of your staff. Irregardless of their position, they all play key parts in the success of this year's football team and the building for the future. And the guy that is to your left probably has as close of a hands-on contact with every single athlete that puts on the Rougher uniform than anybody else, including yourself, and that's Leo Kraske, because he is the athletic trainer, and these guys have learned to respect him and appreciate him for keeping them in the game.
No doubt. And when Leo come on board last year, it was fun. It's a feeling out process. I don't know how to say it the other way. It's from a coach's and watching how a trainer works, because we got our expectations on how that's supposed to work. Not always the proper ones, but we got how that's supposed to work. And then the really unique thing was watching him associate, of course, with our weight training too, with our as far as our development in that area. He's very, very knowledgeable. We talk to kids, they have learned to respect him. He demands it. They want to be in his training room, but they don't.
Right.
There's a two-way deal, and that's what I was looking at as a coach. We don't want a trainer that has kids that want to be in there. We don't want them in there. And so bottom line is he's been a pleasant person to have on board, Coach K. And not only when you talk about training and the weight training side of it too, there's all sorts of other things. He has some relationships with some kids and does a great job as far as motivating them and helping us get these young men going the right direction.
Leo, this is the second year for you to be a part of the Rougher athletic program, not just football. You're involved in all the different sports. That's a very busy schedule, my friend.
Just a little bit. It's a 7-day-a-week job. I started I usually get there about 5:30 in the morning. I'll usually leave about 7 or 8 in the evening and that stuff. But I'm also working on the weekends the whole night. Yeah, it's a long day.
It's a long day, but it's also an ever-changing responsibility because the care of athletic injuries, the treatment of athletic injuries, and being able to meet coaches' expectations sometimes that don't always match up with what the book says. You have to be on your job at its best each and every time.
Exactly. I can't take a day off. There's not one of those. You can't have a bad day in this profession. A bad day could be a bad situation. So you got to be on top of your game, even those days when you don't feel very good or you're not doing your best or something like that. Got to kind of suck it up a little bit and go.
How did you get into becoming an athletic trainer and also a strength and conditioning coordinator?
To be honest, I kind of fell into it. I was high school, and I was a 3-sport athlete. Was looking to play. Was going to go on and play college football. Really wasn't sure what I was interested in.
Now, you weren't just from across the river. Tell us where you came from.
I'm sorry to inform everybody I'm a Yankee, so that problem is I was over in New Jersey.
Okay.
When I did that.
If you talk to him very often, you would figure out he's not a guy that says y'all every day.
No. I'm trying to work it into the vocabulary as much as possible.
Welcome to the game.
There you go. But I was over in New Jersey, and it just so happened one of my football coaches like, hey, you ever thought about doing, you're really into athletics and this kind of stuff. Have you ever thought about getting into the physical sciences, that kind of stuff? And so my senior year, I took an anatomy class and just found it really interesting and ended up going to a school that was really good in sports medicine and that type of thing, and just kind of went from there and that type of thing.
And you've been here now. This is your second year, as I said, involved with all the different sports, whether it's guys or ladies. That also requires a different aspect at a preparation level because you have to recondition or train athletes. Some things will work for either gender.
Yes.
But you have to be on your game to know the best way to treat a young woman athlete as well as one of the guys.
Exactly, especially from the teaching aspect. With all due respect, I mean, a lot of the guys tend to have at least a little experience. Even if they've gotten in the weight room and hey, let's bench. I bet you I can bench more than you. So they have a general idea. With some of the ladies, they've never touched a bar, so this is the first time. So something maybe like just teaching a basic push-up at times. They don't understand how that's going to cross over to the weight room, but it actually can. And so the teaching aspect is going to be a little bit different. Like I said, a lot of times I'll start by teaching push-ups first to lead into bench. Just basic crazy stuff like that is an easier crossover sometimes for some athletes, for some students.
Have you had any of your student athletes challenge you to say, hey, I can out bench you, or I can out.
No.
Nobody wants to mess with Coach Leo.
Nope. He does well. He's got him bluffed or something.
Yeah.
Leo, we talk each and every week in our countdown to kickoff with the health of the Roughers, and we talk about all different aspects. And I tongue-in-cheek said you have to be not only knowledgeable of every individual player and what their individual conditions are, you also have to be a meteorologist and also a psychologist too.
Yeah, a lot. Very, very often. Because, like I said, with the weather and that kind of stuff, we had a pretty doggone warm football season most of the doggone year. So we've had to focus on the hydration aspect as well, weather aspect as well. We've had plenty of those last couple weeks before this past week. It was kind of cool the entire week, and all of a sudden it got humid as ever on Friday night. I was like, okay, wait a second. This is not what we've been preparing for all week. So you got kind of, like I said, I probably look at the weather forecast a lot more than most people do.
And carries that phone around with him with that weather alert app that goes off all the time. Now, Coach also mentioned strength and conditioning programs.
Yes,
Tell me what your mode of operation, what your plan of attack is for building bigger, faster, stronger athletes, and specifically Rougher football players.
First of all, we're going to start our postseason workouts. When I say postseason, a lot of people think, okay, the playoffs. Postseason is just the end of your season regardless. I take it up basically till December as far as postseason. We're going to start off testing right off the bat. I want to see where we're at. We need to develop a baseline, see where we're at, and say, okay, what do we? Because not every team is going to be the same. As far as, like I said, one year we may have a team that's like, hey, our speed is great. We can focus a little bit more in the weight room if our strength aspect is not as well. Mm-hmm. We may have a team that's like, man, we're slow as the dickens. We got work to do in the speed. We got to do a lot of speed work. We got to work a lot of technique work, those type of things. So each team is going to be a little different. So that's why you want to test in the postseason. But as soon as the season gets over, you want to test, see what we got to work on, what our strengths are, what our weaknesses are. The biggest thing, especially early in the offseason, especially at the end of the postseason and starting the in-season, is getting the basics down. I don't care if you're University of Oklahoma or you're Muskogee High School. You talk to any strength coach, they're going to start at the basics. Like I said, just basic, like clean pull from the power position to get ready to go and move the power clean. Front squat to get ready to get to our back squat, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They're going to start the basics first. You're going to just work the basics and over and over and over and over and over again until it's muscle memory. They just naturally get their feet in the right position for squat and don't even think about it. It's like, okay, I got to get my feet right here. They're not even to think about it. They just do it. They get the grip on the bar for the power cleaner. This is how far I got to put my hands. Those type of things. So that when we get into our main off season, like I said, we hit March. That case, getting ready for our summer workouts. It's not about having to learn stuff anymore. It's like, hey, we're going heavy. It's time to build. And that's where we got to go.
Well, we're looking forward to that. Coach, it sounded just like it to me. He was describing Hoover's offense because it's a basic deal, and then it gets bigger, and then it goes to a third level.
Bigger, expands. No, there's no doubt about it. And we're giving him even more control over that because deservingly so. And as you listen to him speak, he does a great job. He's highly motivated in that area. And I've never seen a guy in a weight room and is able to keep the energy like he does. I'm getting a little older, obviously, but I thought I always had more. No, he is constantly on the move. I've watched him work first hour all the way through sixth hour with the same motivation he has. So a lot of credit to Coach K, and we're looking forward to seeing him do his job.
Well, Rougher athletics, not just football, all athletes at Muskogee High School are very fortunate to have a man like Leo Kraske here to help make the future bigger, faster, and stronger at all levels. When we come back, we're going to talk about one of those guys who's bigger than when he started, faster than when he started, and wants to have a fast finish to the 2021 campaign. Jaden Bell will be our guest here after this timeout on the Rougher Football Coaches Show live from Runts BBQ.
Having a good time is an American tradition, and at James Hodge, we're proud Americans. Now is the greatest time to get together, get out, and get away, no matter where the open road takes you. Your journey starts at James Hodge, an authentic part of Oklahoma for over 50 years. Get in a perfect ride at James Hodge Ford.
The James Hodge Ford Promise, the best selection, The absolute best price and service guaranteed. James Hodge Ford, 1200 North Main, Muskogee. Online at hodgeford.com.
In sports, having the right winning strategy is often the difference between winning and losing. The same is true when you need legal representation. For more than 15 years, the law offices of Michael A. Finnerty have successfully provided the winning strategy with excellence and integrity for the people of the Muskogee area in matters of personal injury, social security disability, and workers' compensation issues. The law office, Muskogee trusts Michael A. Finnerty, ready to develop a winning strategy. Michael A. Finnerty, 436 Court Street in Muskogee. Call 687-1155. Online at finnertylaw.com.
Pain is temporary, pride is forever. At Excel Therapy, we want to be your athlete's advocate for excellence. We offer treatment methods that focus on strengthening muscles and improving flexibility to improve your overall performance. And when injury sets in, Excel Therapy can aid in the recovery process. We know it's important to get back in the game, so trust the comeback experts, Excel Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine. With 16 locations and no physician referral required, you can begin healing today. From setback to comeback, the name you can trust, Excel Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine. Look for us online at exceltherapyok.com.
Hi, welcome to Nissan of Muskogee.
Here in Muskogee, we're just 45 minutes from Tulsa, but us being family owned, like I said, the customers feel like family too.
What makes Nissan of Muskogee different? It's our people and a driving desire to surpass the expectations of our customers.
We care, and that's why they come to us.
Become a part of the family and let our people take care of you. Call 918-683-6605 or go to nissanofmuskogee.com.
Tradition. It's a word that means a lot. Just as the tradition of the Muskogee Roughers requires commitment of great players and coaches, Lesher Millsap Funeral Home takes pride in providing great value and commitment every day with a tradition of service to the families of the Muskogee area. Just like in football, tradition must be earned on every play, every day, not just in the final score. And that's why you can trust Lesher Millsap Funeral Home to be there for you when it counts the most. Lesher Millsap Funeral Home, proud to be part of the Muskogee tradition of excellence. Welcome back on Rougher TV and on Okie Country 101.7 KTFX, the Tuesday night Muskogee Rougher Football Coaches Show, live from Runts BBQ, where it's barbecue, a little better barbecue, plus a whole lot more. Speaking about a whole lot more, Coach, our guest this week, our player guest this week, is a guy that gives you a whole lot more. You don't have to just ask, you just have to point, and he gets the job done, Jaden Bell.
No, he's sensational to have around. We've had a lot of interesting conversations, or at least I've talked to him. I don't know if he talks to me a whole lot or listens, but the bottom line is he smiles. I've said some things, and this is the best way. I talk to the team, but I've used Jaden as an example. Skill kids. Skill kids are supposed to be selfish. They're supposed to want the football, and he's that. But he does such a great job balancing that in the team. He's the reason why I was excited about having him here tonight. He represents us as well as anybody. The way he goes about his business, he's still an honorary young man. Don't make him an angel or anything like that. But he's a football player, and he does such a great job. Like I said, when he gets his touches, he takes advantage of them. He wants more, but he'll block for those teammates. He's there, and he's always smiling, and he's happy for his teammates. So Jaden Bell is a great football player, a great athlete, because he plays some other sports really well too. So glad to have him on board tonight. Glad to listen to him talk. Let's give him that opportunity.
Jaden, let's let you describe yourself as that type of player. What is most important to Jaden Bell?
I would say the most important thing to me is just the overall success of the team. Obviously it feels good to get in the end zone yourself, but it also feels good. I've learned a lot this year that to make that ceiling block to let our Tolbert get around the edge and get in the end zone, just finding ways to help others kind of always leads back to, getting the ball back yourself. Mm-hmm. So I've just kind of learned, throughout this year that really successful, is the one-on-one competition between me and whoever's guarding me. Just winning that's kind of the most overall thing I've learned this year that's most important.
Do you like the man coverage, or do you like to try to work between the zone?
I would say I like man coverage better just because it's more me versus you. Zone, I don't know.
You get a lot of two-man coverage about it.
Yeah, I do, but I would say man coverage with ease because it's really me versus you, and it's kind of easier to stem routes because I know that his eyes are going to be on me versus him and the safety looking at me to figure out what's going on. So I would say man coverage for sure.
Now, I was impressed the fact that you talked about the importance of a wide receiver being able to block, because for the RPO to work, for Ryzen Hoover's offense to work at its premium level, you got to not only catch the ball, you got to run your routes right, but you also got to be willing to sacrifice your body and make blocks.
Oh yeah,
Not just for Tolbert. I'm talking about other receivers that are coming your way. Isaiah gets that pitch sweep. I mean, you're the guy out in front, not that big heavy. It's coming off the front line.
I mean, day one, that was one of Coach Reisensuper's biggest things, perimeter blocking. I mean, he's been preaching to us since before the season even started. So I just knew it was going to take a lot of, trial and error, figuring out where I need to attack the defender, where I'm trying to, make him go. But it does. It feels amazing when you make that good block and watch your teammate run 20 yards down the field and just come back to the huddle, give you a high five, and tell you good block.
That puts a smile on the coach's
face. I mean, I've told receivers before. There's 60 snaps average in a football game offensively. If he was to catch 7 or 8 balls, that's a great football game from wide receiver.
Right.
What are you doing with the other 52, 53 snaps? Take advantage of them. They're trying to knock your head off, so to speak. That's your opportunity to get after them, too. And he's taking advantage of that. Let's go ahead. I love listening to Jaden speak. Let's move forward with him.
Coach talked about playing other sports. Tell us some of the other things you are involved in that you like almost as good as football.
So I play baseball, but I'm interested in playing basketball this year. But in baseball, I play really pretty much anywhere in the outfield. I usually batted 1 or 2 hole. And then basketball, I played point guard. I can kind of dribble the ball a little bit. But I would say football is my favorite. I mean, there's just nothing like being in the locker room with, 30 other guys, just going out there with one goal. And, and it feels amazing to come away with a win. But even through losses, sometimes you kind of, bond together. And it's always, with football, you can find guys that, want to go get that extra work in with you. And it just feels good. It feels like one big family out there, to be honest.
We're certainly glad that you're wearing the green and white, regardless of the sport. Now, I put a question out for Coach to think about long term. The name Bell is synonymous with Muskogee Rougher football, and I posed the question to you before we came on the air. Who would you tell me, in your experience, your knowledge, is the greatest Rougher ever to play?
Oh, it'd have to be my Uncle Glenn Bell. Have to be.
How many times have you been asked, hey, are you related to Glenn Bell?
Almost any time somebody above the age of 30 hears the last name Bell.
But it also kind of makes you feel good, too, to know that family tradition lives on through you, my friend.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we're certainly glad that you were able to get here with us from Runts, and I noticed you didn't leave anything on the plate. Well, maybe you did take that one piece of catfish home with you to have for a little late-night snack. It's probably you're taking care of some of your academic responsibilities.
Oh, yeah. So I am currently enrolled in 2 on-campus classes at Muskogee. That's my AP English and AP U.S. History. But I'm also enrolled in 2 concurrent classes at Connors, so I take Humanities and Speech. So really the balance of, school and work's kind of easier on me this year, not being overloaded with so much from the high school. But I would say I couldn't ask for a better school schedule.
I'm just going to ask you to turn out the lights on Friday night with that scoreboard with the Roughers on top. How about that?
Oh, yeah. Being able to play the last home game or the last varsity game at the Indian Bowl, my uncles played there, my brothers played there, plenty of older cousins have played there, so it just kind of feels good, to be a part of the last, generation, to be able to, look at the scoreboard at the Indian Bowl.
Jaden Bell is our guest in this segment. We're going to come back after this final timeout, put a quick wrap on our broadcast. We'll talk about the upcoming opponent for the final game of 2021, Ponca City. That after this timeout of Rougher football.
The Muskogee Athletic Department would like to recognize its proud Rougher Athletics sponsors: Armstrong Bank, Oklahoma Army National Guard, Arvest Bank, Chick-fil-A Muskogee, Neighbors Building Neighborhoods, St. Francis Muskogee, Tommy Nix Auto Group, Springs Skilled Nursing and Therapy. Go Roughers!
It's a time when uncertainty spreads faster than understanding. It's also a time when taking steps to prepare can help us all find a sense of security. At ServPro, helping our nation's homes, businesses, and shared spaces be more clean, be more safe, is why we're here. Here in your community, here to help.
Red Dirt Production Services proudly supports the Muskogee Roughers. Productivity in the oil and gas industry requires every member of the team to know their job and do it to the best of their abilities. Just like in football, teamwork is a #1 priority, and that's the mission of Red Dirt Production Services, serving the oil and gas industry through roustabout and well pumping services, along with environmental remediation and pipeline construction. Proud to join forces with the Roughers to win every day the Muskogee way. Red Dirt Production Services says, go Roughers!
I'm Kyle Edwards for Kyle Edwards Buick GMC in Muskogee and the all-new Kyle Edwards Auto Group in Shakota. With the addition of Chevrolet, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram in Shakota and Buick GMC in Muskogee, it now gives our customers a great lineup of new makes and models to choose from. We are very proud to bring you a buying experience you won't find anywhere else. If you haven't visited us yet, come give us a chance. You'll like what you see. Family-owned, customer-friendly, Kyle Edwards Buick GMC in Muskogee and Kyle Edwards Auto Group in Shakota.
Welcome back to Runts BBQ. This is our final show of the 2021 campaign, the final time for the Roughers to show what you're made of Friday night against Ponca City, who likewise will be in their final game of the year. And you know they're not going to just come in and wave the white flag.
No, I know, like I mentioned to you before, their head coach, Scotty Harmon, coached with me. He was my GA when we was at Padinio and worked with me there. And he's a very highly competitive person. I know he'll have his team ready to play. They're tough bunch. That's what he was known for. Of course, he played DB over there at Oklahoma State University, and he's known for his competitiveness, his toughness. His team's going to exuberate those type of things too. So we got our hands full, but I think our kids are slowly but surely letting it sink in this week what the opportunities are there, and looking forward to Friday night.
Certainly, you want to wrap up the season and carry that winning momentum with you into the postseason, into Leo's off-season program, and building for the future. Speaking of the future, we talked about this being the final game to be played at Muskogee's Indian Bowl. They'll turn out the lights Friday night with the scoreboard, hopefully in favor of the Roughers. As you walk out Friday night and put a lock on the gate and drive away for the final time on a game night, if you reflect back on your knowledge of Rougher football, I asked you this question earlier. In the mind of Travis Hill, who is the number one all-time best?
Well, let me just say I played with a couple of Roughers too in college. Jeff Lee, Mike Edwards, Mike, and some good players now.
Yeah, very good.
Mike Bubba Gore. You know, there's some really good players that come out here. And I know we got a bell here tonight, but my memories, of who I thought was the best and who I perceive driving from Tulsa down the Muskogee Turnpike to Muskogee, I always saw Glenn Bell running up and down the highway. And as I said, my first years of coaching, I got to come over here and play in the Indian Bowl as a coach at Stillwater High School in the playoffs whenever the Roughers won the state championship in 1986. So Glenn Bell's who I picked. It doesn't have anything to do with Jaden over here, but that's who sticks out in my mind, Bill.
Well, certainly there's a lot of people, and it's a good point to argue. It'll be great trivia questions from now on. Who was the best Rougher football player in the final game played at Indian Bowl, and what was the final score when the Roughers got the win?
I'm
good
looking
trivia. Forward to that.
Good trivia, yes.
That trivia question for the rest of my days. Hey, it's been fun each and every Tuesday night here at Runts, and we'll look forward to another exciting season starting next year. But first of all, let's finish it up the Muskogee way and win on Friday night.
Bill, it's what it's all about. And like I said, I'm excited, and my energy level continues to grow, and we're just excited. And we want to finish this thing off strong. I will sell it like all get out between now and Friday, and I know these guys are going to buy in to go get this thing done.
For Travis Hill, for Leo Kraske, and for Jaden Bell, who wears number 3 for the Roughers, I'm Bill Huddleston again from Runts BBQ. Say so long for 2021. We'll see you Friday night at Indy Bowl when the Roughers take on Ponca City. And until then, it's always a great day to be a Rougher.